Hey, what's up YouTube? So in this video I'm going to do my testimony, some of it, how I maybe encountered an angel at a bus stop, but definitely encountered God, and it's a good story, a true story. So I was born in Tennessee. I had a really good upbringing, playing sports, went to church, had really good parents that cared for me. I didn't want for nothing. But somewhere along the lines, I started hanging out with people that weren't good for me. Some were good for me, but you know how outside influences start coming in, and it flips everything upside down. So when I was probably about 16, I started with weed, and over years it snowballed all the way up to where I was putting meth in my arm, and everything else, my Suboxone, anything I could get in there. Disclaimer: don't do it. Just don't do it. Um, so my behavior was awful. Bumming money off people, and like it's just what a good human being turned into a monster, and just was crazy. I now know it's mental health addiction. Um, and I masked my inner emotions, and it gave me security. I thought it did. It gave me confidence. And like I said, this goes on for years. In another video, I get more specific about what my body looks like, and just more detailed. It's called Surrendered, a story of teen challenge. And so 20 years. And then I lost everything. I completely lost everything. And at that realization, I knew it was over. But the good news is the only way was up after that. So my father says, "You're going to Teen Challenge. I'm selling the house." And I was like, "What's Teen Challenge? I'm an adult." But you can look it up. A pastor, and like back in the day, he helped a bunch of teenagers, and that's why they called it that. So I go to detox before Teen Challenge, and the whole time in detox, they're giving me Subutex, and so by the time I got out of detox, I was sick because they cut you off 2 days before, and so I'm headed to Florida from Tennessee, and I'm squirming in my seat, to say the least. Like, it was bad. It was bad. I knew it was over. So I show up to Teen Challenge, and check out my other video at Point of Q called Surrendered. Um, it'll give you more detailed, but for this video, about 10 days in, my withdrawals was more than I could handle. You can't smoke in there. They're not going to give you nothing but ibuprofen. But it was bad. It was bad. It felt like I was demon possessed. It felt like I was never going to get rest. But the good news is it does. About 7 days in, it started to break. But I wanted a cigarette about day 10, and like they're not going to give it to you. And rightfully so. I mean, rules are rules. So in my mind, I come up with excuses to leave, and I get a bus ticket, but I don't pay for it. The program does, but I couldn't wait to get one all the way back home. I was so impatient. The nearest bus ticket was 3 hours from Jonesboro, Tennessee. It was like Chattanooga. So I didn't care. I wasn't thinking clear. So this is where I had my encounter. I get to Chattanooga at a bus stop. I'm there for about 2 days. I'm eating out of trash cans. I'm bumming cigarettes. And I'm walking one night, and I'm looking up at the moon. And if you remember the movie Passion of Christ and the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus, the moon's in the background, and he's crying out to God in agony, I envisioned that in my mind. I envisioned that scene while I was walking, looking at the moon, and all of a sudden, this peace washed upon me that I'll never understand. Like, whatever withdrawals that were in me, it finally broke. Whatever, like, anxiety I had about changing my life, it wasn't there in the moment anymore. Like, feeling bad or troubled by it. And then this voice in my own words said, you know what to do. So I do a 180. And before that moment, I need to mention it, before I had that encounter, the enemy got in my head and he's like, go unalive yourself. Get a rope. End it. And the good news in all that, the Lord intervened. And you just have to surrender and go to God with it. And it's like, it'll turn your whole life around. So I did a 180. I go back to the bus stop, and there's a guy there on the phone at 4 a.m. And I was going to ask him to use the phone to call my dad and go back to Teen Challenge. And so I asked him to use the phone. He's like, sure. Call my dad. He's not happy with me, and rightfully so. So I get a bus ticket, come all the way back to Florida, and on the way I meet a nun that's going to a convent. I find a Bible on a bench that somebody had left for the next person, and knew I was doing the right thing. I knew it. And so I go back to Teen Challenge. I end up staying 3 years there. Met my wife there. Got a job through there, and now have a better job. So that's it. That's my testimony. It's simple, nothing too crazy. I have another a short called Vision of God, where you'll see an encounter I had in Teen Challenge where God showed me and gave me a message. It was very real. It was real. It was very. And it's more in depth of what it was like there. So I thank you for listening. Please check out my shorts and videos. Some of them you're gonna laugh, some of them they're just serious, but I'm just trying to get all this information out there for people that are struggling with any kind of issue, that related to the addiction, that they do have hope out there, and you can change your life no matter how too far gone you are. So God bless, and take care of you guys. See you.